Hello! I'm keeping up the pressure on you now with a set of tricky questions. The good news is they're all multiple choice. 16 very varied questions. Let's begin. Question 1. Why did Isaac pray to the Lord for his wife Rebekah? Was it because she was barren? Because she had leprosy? Because she'd been bitten by a snake? Or because the king had chosen her to be his wife? And that was because she was barren in Genesis chapter 25. Question 2. What was the purpose of the rainbow? Was it for man to remember the flood? For God to remember his promise not to flood the whole earth again? To symbolize a new beginning? Or to show the wonder of God's love? And that was a sign of God's promise in Genesis chapter 9. Question 3. The soldiers at the cross divided Jesus' clothing between them and cast lots for one piece. Why? Well, was it because there was an odd number of pieces of clothing? Or the soldiers had read Psalm 22 and knew that it had been prophesied? Or the garment was seamless, woven in one piece? Or there was a gold thread woven into this garment? And they cast lots because the garment was seamless, and they didn't want to rip it. In John chapter 19. Question 4. Which book in the Old Testament tells of the building of the temple in Jerusalem, with treasure from the king's own treasure house at the decree of Cyrus, king of Persia? Was that the book of Micah, Nahum, Obadiah, or Ezra? And you'll find the building of the temple in Ezra chapter 1. Question 5. Who did Jesus send fishing to get money for taxes? Was that Matthew, Peter, John, or Nicodemus? That was Peter in Matthew chapter 27. Question 6. Who traded his birthright to his brother for some bread and lentil stew? Was that Benjamin, Simeon, Jacob, or Esau? And that was the hirsute Esau in Genesis chapter 25. Question 7. How long was the ark that Noah built? Was that 100 cubits, 200 cubits, 300 cubits, or 400 cubits? And the answer is 300 cubits in Genesis chapter 6. Question 8. At the battle of Ramoth-Gilead, how did King Ahab of Israel die? Was he stabbed through the heart by his own chariot driver? He was in a chariot and was struck by a random arrow. The prophet Micaiah, son of Imlah, prophesied his death, and he fell backwards off his chariot. Or the chariot that he was driving fell over, and he was pinned to the ground by the axle. Well, King Ahab died because he was struck by a random arrow in 1 Kings chapter 22. Question 9. What did the priest Eli think when he saw Hannah praying? Did he think she was mad? She was drunk? She was holy? Or that she was having a seizure? And Eli thought Hannah was drunk in 1 Samuel chapter 1. Question 10. When the Lord delivered the Amorites into the hand of Joshua, what celestial event occurred? Was it fire and brimstone raining down from the heavens? The sun stood still and did not go down for about a whole day. Darkness fell on the Amorites while the Israelites could still see. Or rain and hail struck the Amorite army, causing the chariots to get bogged. and the sun stood still in Joshua chapter 10. Question 11. What is the final fate of the heavens as described in Revelation? Is it to be cleansed from pollution and continue forever? It departs as a scroll when it's rolled together. It's burned in an everlasting fire, or it continues as it always has. And in Revelation chapter 6, the heavens will depart as a scroll. Question 12. In which direction did the prophet Elisha direct the king of Israel to shoot an arrow? Was it northward, southward, eastward, or westward? And that's eastward in 2 Kings chapter 13. But I think it would be a better story if it matched the only town in the UK that ended with an exclamation point. Westward ho! Question 13. Proverbs 7 describes a man who allows himself to be seduced and likens the man to an ox going to the slaughter, a stag towards the trap until an arrow pierces its entrails, a bird rushing into a snare, or all of the above. And the answer is all of the above. So, the lesson, do not be seduced. Question 14. From what did the woman suffer who touched Jesus' garment and was made whole? Was she demon-possessed, bleeding, suffer from leprosy, or was she lame? And the woman suffered from long-term bleeding in Mark chapter 5. Question 15. Psalm 23. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will lie down in safety. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I will sing and dance before the Lord, or I will exalt the Lord as long as I have breath. And that's, I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And question 16. What man does the book of Proverbs liken to clouds and wind without rain? Is it a man who boasts of gifts he does not have? A man who promises an inheritance to his children and does not write them into his will? A man who undertakes to help a neighbor but doesn't show up to do the work? Or a man who keeps animals and does not care for them properly? And a cloud without rain is like a man who boasts of gifts he doesn't have. In Proverbs chapter 25. Have a great day. Goodbye, and God bless.